Bradley stared at the tablet in his hands, the headline still glowing on the screen like a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. Gerber Corporation acquires majority ownership of Whitlock Medical Center. And beneath it, Mia Gerber, Acting Executive Director. His fingers tightened around the device.
How is this possible?
This has to be a mistake, he muttered.
With no money.
Just then, the office door opened, and Catherine walked in confidently, carrying a cup of coffee. "Bradley, why did you call me so urgently?" she asked, sounding slightly annoyed. Bradley slowly turned the tablet toward her. "Read this." Catherine frowned and took the tablet. As her eyes scanned the article, the color slowly drained from her face. "Mia Gerber?" she whispered. Her mind immediately flashed back to 3 years ago, the night Mia fell down the stairs, the night they both walked away without looking back. "That's impossible," Catherine said quickly. "She was poor. She had nothing." Bradley slammed his hand on the desk. Clearly that wasn't true. The reality was beginning to sink in. Mia wasn't just alive, she was powerful. More powerful than either of them had ever imagined. Meanwhile, downstairs in the hospital lobby, something unusual was happening. Doctors and nurses whispered quietly as a sleek black luxury car stopped outside the main entrance. The doors opened. Mia stepped out. Her heels touched the ground slowly, confidently. She wore a tailored black business suit, her long hair flowing behind her as she walked toward the entrance. The same hospital she had once visited as a frightened young woman was now under her control. Inside the building, staff members watched curiously as she entered. "Is that her?" someone whispered. "That's Mia Gerber, the new owner," another employee replied. Mia walked through the lobby calmly, her expression composed, her eyes sharp. Every step echoed across the polished marble floor. For 3 years, she had rebuilt herself. For 3 years, she had waited. And now, the place that once belonged to Bradley Whitlock belonged to her. Upstairs in his office, Bradley suddenly felt a strange chill run down his spine, almost as if something powerful had just entered the building. He didn't know it yet, but Mia Gerber had just walked back into his life. And this time, she wasn't the woman he once betrayed. She was the woman who could destroy him. Bradley confronts the staff, and Mia takes control. Bradley stormed out of his office, his footsteps echoing through the hospital corridor. The tablet was still clutched tightly in his hand, the headline about Mia Gerber burning into his mind. "This is ridiculous," he muttered under his breath. As he approached the reception desk, several employees immediately went quiet. They exchanged uneasy glances, clearly aware that something big had changed within the hospital's leadership. Bradley slammed the tablet onto the counter. "I want an explanation," he demanded sharply. "Since when did this hospital get sold to the Gerber Corporation?" The receptionist swallowed nervously before answering. It was finalized early this morning, Mr. Whitlock. The board approved the acquisition late last night." Bradley felt his chest tighten. "And no one thought to inform me?" "Sir, the new executive director wanted the announcement to be handled directly." Bradley frowned. "New executive director?" Before the receptionist could respond, the large elevator doors across the lobby slid open with a soft, metallic sound. The entire lobby suddenly fell silent. Mia stepped out. She walked forward slowly, her posture calm and confident. Her heels clicked softly against the polished marble floor, the sound echoing through the spacious lobby like a quiet declaration of power. Doctors and nurses moved aside respectfully as she passed. Behind her, two members of the Gerber Corporation legal team followed with folders and tablets in their hands. Bradley froze where he stood. For a moment, he thought he was imagining it. But no, it was her, Mia Gerber, alive, stronger, more powerful than ever. Their eyes finally met across the lobby. Bradley felt something twist painfully in his stomach, but Mia's expression remained completely calm. No anger, no sadness, just quiet authority. She stopped a few feet away from him and spoke in a smooth, professional tone. "Good morning, Mr. Whitlock." Bradley stared at her, speechless. "Since you were asking," Mia continued calmly, "I'm the new owner of this hospital." A wave of whispers spread through the staff around them. Bradley's pride burned inside him. "This hospital is my department," he said stiffly. "I helped build its reputation." Mia tilted her head slightly. "And now you'll continue helping to run it," she replied calmly. Her voice was polite, but the meaning behind it was unmistakable. Bradley Whitlock now worked for her. Bradley tries to regain control. The hospital lobby remained tense after Mia's announcement. Doctors, nurses, and administrative staff stood quietly, pretending to continue their work, but their eyes kept drifting toward the confrontation between Mia and Bradley. Bradley clenched his jaw, trying to maintain the confidence he had always shown inside this building. For years, this hospital had been his territory, his reputation, his pride. And now, suddenly, Mia Gerber stood in front of him as the owner. "This is ridiculous," Bradley said sharply, trying to regain control of the situation. "You can't just walk in here and take over like this." Mia didn't raise her voice. She didn't even look angry. Mia takes the executive office. The private executive elevator opened quietly on the top floor of the hospital. This level was different from the busy floors below. The corridors were quieter, the lighting softer, and the offices belonged only to the hospital's highest executives. Mia stepped out calmly, followed by two members of the Gerber Corporation legal team. At the end of the hallway stood a large glass door with polished silver letters. Executive Director. For years, that office had belonged to the hospital board chairman. Now, it belonged to Mia. The assistant waiting outside immediately stood up when she saw her. "Good morning, Ms. Gerber." "Good morning," Mia replied calmly. The assistant quickly opened the door for her. As Mia walked inside, the large office revealed itself. Wide glass windows overlooking the city skyline, a polished oak desk, and shelves filled with years of hospital records and awards. Mia walked slowly toward the desk, placing her folder down. For a brief moment, she looked out the window. Below, the city moved like nothing had changed. But inside this hospital, everything had. Her legal advisor stepped forward. "Ms. Gerber, we've already begun reviewing the hospital's financial reports." "Good," Mia replied. She opened the first file in front of her. Page after page revealed something troubling. Overspending, unreported investments, several questionable contracts signed under Bradley Whitlock's department. Mia's expression remained calm, but her eyes sharpened. "So, this is how he's been running things," she said quietly. Another advisor spoke. "There are also several patient complaints that were quietly buried by the administration." Mia closed the file slowly. "Then we start fixing everything," she said firmly. Across the hospital, Bradley paced inside his office, still furious. His assistant had just finished telling him what had happened upstairs. "She's already holding meetings with the board," the assistant said nervously. Bradley stopped pacing. She's what? She's reviewing the financial records and restructuring departments. Bradley's face darkened. In less than 1 hour, Mia had begun dismantling the system he controlled. For the first time, Bradley realized something that made his stomach tighten. Mia hadn't returned just to confront him. She had returned to take everything back. And this time, she had the power to do it. Bradley begins. His counterattack. Bradley Whitlock stood silently inside his office, staring out the window at the hospital parking lot below. The anger inside him had not cooled. If anything, it had only grown stronger. For years, this hospital had been his kingdom. Every department respected him. Every doctor listened to him. Every decision passed through him. And now, Mia Gerber had walked in and taken everything. His assistant stood quietly near the door, afraid to say anything. Finally, Bradley turned around slowly. "Call Dr. Harris?" he said coldly. "The finance director?" "Yes." A few minutes later, Dr. Harris entered the office nervously. Bradley didn't waste time. "You've worked here longer than most people," Bradley said calmly, folding his arms. "Tell me something. How much does Mia Gerber really know about this hospital?" Dr. Harris hesitated. I'm not sure." Bradley leaned closer, lowering his voice. "She may own the hospital now, but she doesn't understand how it runs." His eyes hardened. "And if she starts digging into the wrong things, it could create problems for..." The boardroom confrontation. 30 minutes later, the hospital's executive boardroom slowly began to fill. One by one, the board members arrived, taking their seats around the long, polished conference table. Quiet conversations floated through the room as everyone waited for the meeting to begin. Most of them had already heard the shocking news. The hospital now belonged to Mia Gerber. At the far end of the table, Bradley Whitlock sat with his arms crossed, his expression cold and unreadable. He hated the way the room felt different today. For years, whenever these meetings happened, all eyes naturally turned toward him. Today, they were waiting for someone else. The door finally opened. Mia walked in. She moved with calm confidence, carrying a slim folder in her hand. Her presence alone seemed to shift the atmosphere in the room. The conversation stopped immediately. Every board member turned toward her. Mia reached the head of the table and placed her folder down. "Good afternoon, everyone," she said politely. Several members nodded respectfully. Bradley watched her carefully, his jaw tightening. Mia opened the folder and began speaking. "As you all know, Gerber Corporation officially finalized the acquisition of this hospital this morning." She paused briefly, letting the words settle. "My goal is simple. I want to improve the hospital's performance, strengthen its reputation, and ensure every department operates with complete transparency." Some of the board members exchanged approving glances, but Bradley suddenly leaned forward. "With respect," he said firmly, "this hospital already has a strong reputation." The room fell quiet. Mia turned her eyes toward him calmly. "Yes," she said, "it does." Bradley continued, "And that reputation was built by the people sitting in this room long before Gerber Corporation decided to buy it." A few board members shifted nervously. Mia didn't raise her voice. Instead, she slowly opened another document and slid several printed reports across the table. "These are the hospital's financial records from the past 2 years." The board members began reading the papers. Within seconds, their expressions began to change. Confusion, concern. Bradley noticed it immediately. "What is this supposed to prove?" he asked sharply. Mia folded her hands calmly. "It proves that several departments have been operating without proper financial reporting." The room grew silent again. Then Mia added quietly, "Most of those departments fall under Dr. Whitlock's supervision." Every eye in the room turned toward Bradley. For the first time that afternoon, Bradley realized the meeting was no longer under his control, exposing corruption and Bradley's panic. The tension in the boardroom was suffocating. Mia stood calmly at the head of the table, her folder open, her eyes scanning the room. Every board member's gaze followed her, waiting for the next words. Bradley shifted uncomfortably in his chair. He hated how the room seemed to shrink around Mia's presence. "Ladies and gentlemen," Mia began, her voice steady, but cutting through the silence like a knife. "The reports you've just reviewed show discrepancies in several departments under Dr. Whitlock's supervision. Missing funds, unapproved contracts, and unusually high expenses." Board members whispered among themselves. Some looked shocked, others skeptical. Bradley's face darkened. "This is absurd," he snapped. "Those reports are wrong. I've been running this hospital perfectly." Mia tilted her head slightly. Her eyes glinted coldly. "Perfection?" she repeated softly. "Then explain these unaccounted payments, the forged purchase orders, and the sudden budget cuts in critical departments." The board members exchanged glances. They had trusted Bradley for years, but Mia's documents were impossible to ignore. Bradley's voice trembled slightly now, betraying the first cracks in his composed exterior. I don't know how this happened," he muttered. Mia's lips curved into a faint, dangerous smile. "It happened because some people believed they could operate without oversight, because some people thought this hospital was untouchable. That ends today." She turned to the board, her tone authoritative. "I want a full internal audit immediately. Every department, every transaction, no exceptions." One of the senior board members finally spoke up, his voice uncertain. "Dr. Gerber, if these reports are accurate, Dr. Whitlock—" Mia raised a hand, stopping him. "Yes," she said calmly. "If these reports are accurate, action must be taken, and it will be." Bradley felt the room closing in on him. He realized in that moment that Mia had completely seized control. Her calm authority made him look like a child throwing a tantrum. The board members began murmuring approval, nodding to Mia's decisive leadership. Bradley's mind raced, trying to think of a way to regain control. But deep down, he knew. He was already too late. The secret takeover plan. Later that evening, Mia sat alone in her private office, the city lights reflecting off the glass walls. The office was quiet, except for the soft hum of her laptop. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard as she reviewed Bradley's past hospital transactions. Every misstep, every hidden shortcut, every vulnerable point in his empire. She had already mapped it all. She leaned back in her chair, a faint smile playing on her lips. "He thought I was weak," she whispered to herself. "He thought I would crumble. But he doesn't know. I'm nothing like the girl he abandoned." Meanwhile, across town, Bradley was in his penthouse, pacing angrily. Catherine sat on the leather couch beside him, sipping champagne, oblivious to the storm brewing. "I can't believe she's doing this," Bradley muttered, running a hand through his hair. "She has no right. She was nothing." Catherine tilted her head, feigning concern. "Bradley, maybe we should talk to her? Apologize?" she suggested. Bradley glared at her. "Apologize? No. That woman, she'll pay for this." Back in the hospital, Mia activated her plan. She began quietly transferring key staff under her direct supervision. Financial audits were secretly scheduled. Bradley had no idea the foundation he had built for years was quietly slipping from under him. Every email Mia sent, every file she reviewed, was a step closer to full control. Her phone buzzed, a text from her assistant. "The board has approved your audit plan. Everything is in motion." Mia's lips curled into a satisfied, almost dangerous smile. "Good. Let the games begin," she whispered. Bradley, meanwhile, was losing sleep, pacing, realizing he could no longer manipulate the hospital without Mia noticing. First public move. The next morning, Mia entered the hospital's main boardroom with confidence. Every step of her heels echoed against the polished floors. Staff and board members exchanged nervous glances. The whispers began before she even spoke. "Good morning," Mia said, her voice calm but commanding. "I have a few updates regarding the hospital's management." Bradley, seated at the head of the table, froze. His eyes narrowed as he realized she had taken full control over the meeting agenda. Catherine, sitting beside him, shifted uneasily. Mia projected graphs, financial audits, and staff reassignments on the large screen. Every move she had planned over the past months was now visible. "Effective immediately. These departments will report directly to me," she announced. "All financial approvals must go through the CEO's office." Gasps filled the room. Bradley's face turned red, and he slammed his fist on the table. "What is this? Who gave you this authority?" "I did," Mia replied coolly, her gaze locked on him. "And it's time the hospital operates efficiently. No more shortcuts. No more hidden agendas." Bradley's heart pounded. He realized, too late, that Mia had not only returned, she had returned as the one with all the power. Catherine whispered something in his ear, but he barely heard her, consumed by the growing fear of losing control. Mia concluded the meeting with a decisive tone. "I expect full cooperation. Those who resist will find themselves replaced." As the staff nodded nervously, Mia's eyes met Bradley's across the table. The silent message was clear. The girl he abandoned was no longer powerless. And now, the game had truly begun. The first public step of her revenge had taken effect, and Bradley had no idea how fast the tide was turning against him. Confrontation at the office. Later that day, Mia walked into Bradley's private office. The room smelled of leather and expensive cologne. Bradley looked up from his desk, trying to hide his fear, but Mia's cold, unwavering stare made him flinch. "Bradley," she said, her voice smooth yet icy. "We need to talk." He leaned back, attempting his usual arrogance. "And what exactly do you want, Mia? You think showing up here changes anything?" Mia took a slow step closer. "I'm not here to talk about what I want. I'm here to show you the consequences of leaving me powerless 3 years ago." Bradley's jaw tightened. "Consequences? What are you talking about?" She placed her hand on the desk, leaning slightly toward him. "This hospital, every department, every financial decision, now answers to me. And this time, Bradley, there is no one to shield you." Catherine, who had entered behind him, shifted nervously. "Mia, this is unnecessary," she whispered. Mia didn't look at her. Her eyes remained fixed on Bradley. "Unnecessary," she repeated coldly. "The betrayal was unnecessary. But you chose Catherine over me, over our child. Now, everything you value is at my mercy." Bradley's face went pale. He realized for the first time how thoroughly Mia had planned her comeback. He had underestimated the girl he thought he had destroyed. Mia straightened, her lips curling into a faint, merciless smile. "Enjoy your promotion while it lasts, Bradley. Because the real game starts now. And trust me, I will win." Bradley swallowed hard. The arrogance that once defined him had vanished. For the first time, he felt fear. And it was all because of the woman he once betrayed.